To order the Franklin County Board of Commissioners General Session. Today is May 15, 2018. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner O'Grady. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Commissioner O'Grady, do you have a public announcement you want to make?
Yeah, this is the reason why you should wear sunscreen. I had to go yesterday and have a nice little chunk cut out of my forehead. So whether you have hair or you don't, doesn't matter. You should. This is no joke these days. The sun's more powerful than it used to be, and so Doc told me that it's probably from years of being in the sun. When we were kids, we didn't think about it much, and we're just out in the sun all the time. But whether you have hair or you don't have hair, you should wear sunscreen all the time. And he says that SPF 50. So for those of us who didn't think that SPF 50 was a good idea, SPF 50 is recommended, and you should put it on a lot. The spray stuff. I like to use the spray stuff because that other stuff's like gross and gloopy, and spray it on, you get it on, it's all liquidy and wet, and it dries pretty fast, and you should put it on 2 or 3 times when you're out in the sun. But yeah, I went in yesterday, and it's no joke. He cut a big chunk out of my forehead, and so I'm not wearing this because my wife hit me in the head with a frying pan or anything like that. They cut a big chunk out of my forehead yesterday, and it's kind of a big deal. So wear some sunscreen. Even if you're wearing a hat, you should still wear some sunscreen, but you should wear a hat too. So anyway, sorry about that, but I wasn't coming on TV this morning with a big bandage on my head for no good reason. So
I was going to say, tell the truth. When you made me mad yesterday, you really agitated me, and I just responded. I apologize for
it. Would take a little more than that. You'd have to do this from a distance, pal.
Touche.
It's a good thing you're a sprinter.
That's true. Remember that. That's right. That's exactly it.
All right.
Actually, I really appreciate that. That's the kind of thing that we often all have to be reminded about, and it is that time of the year, and we should be thoughtful about that. And so I really appreciate you making that. I've been out in the sun several times, and I've not put any on.
Yeah.
And so I will go ahead and buy my can. I like the spray too.
It's different. You are not nearly as fair-skinned as I am.
Not close.
Interestingly, yeah. But yeah, being fair-skinned is a problem for me. But and this is not melanoma; it's what's called squamous cell carcinoma. So it's not life-threatening. But I also don't want to live the rest of my life because I can get these often. My dad had lots of. I could end up having lesions and patches on my head, and being bald. My wife lived the early years of our marriage with my dad having these patches on his head in later years, and so she told me, she said, I'm not living with you looking like that in the later years of your life, so you're going to go get these things taken care of. But so we caught it early, but so this is not life threatening, but still it's cancer on my head, and so
Well, we all want to see you around too, so I'm glad you did. So we have guests with us today. If I could call my friend Howie Begelman to come forward from the Ohio Jewish Communities, and Justin Shaw as well. Please come forward to the mic. And we're presenting a resolution, but I'll let you open up and share with us your visit today.
Good morning.
Good to see you, Howie.
Good to see you. Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you very much for taking the time here today to commemorate and recognize Israel on the 70th anniversary of its independence. Ohio and Israel did $404 million of trade last year. Israel is actually Ohio's 28th largest trading partner. Business occurs in industries as diverse as life sciences, aerospace, agriculture, defense, clean water, clean technologies, energy, and smart cities. Universities and hospitals are collaborating on game-changing research, and human service providers are sharing best practices and teaching each other in areas as diverse as immigrant absorption, senior care, and at-risk youth. This is not only a business proposition or an economic opportunity, it is based on values and vision.
Morning. Together,
Could
Buckeye.
you just state your name, too,
Hi,
for the record?
Justin Shaw. I'm the
Welcome
dir-
back, Justin.
Hi, thank you. I'm the Director of Community Relations of the Jewish Federation. Together, Ohioans and Israeli thinkers and innovators can do so much to impact every region of Ohio and every corner of Israel. And that's very true, at least in Franklin County, in Columbus. Locally, the Jewish community has a very strong partnership with the city of Kfar Saba. We've enjoyed that partnership since 2002. That partnership implements a wide range of programs for a variety of age groups in the areas of education and community leaderships. Over the past few years alone, we've had numerous delegation exchanges that's included doctors, lawyers, teachers, and nurses, and where they strengthen their knowledge in their respective fields. And I just want to thank you again for presenting this resolution today. Thanks.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, thanks for coming. It should be noted that Franklin County, as well as the state of Ohio, and many local municipalities invest in Israel bonds. And so the $404 million you referred to is an investment most likely in their bond portfolio for Israel. But what's important about that from a economic standpoint is the performance of those bonds. Those bonds have always been paid. They pay a very strong interest rate and are very competitive as global bonds go or international bonds go. And it's considered one of the safe securities or safe instruments internationally, and it's a good investment. It's a solid, good investment that many portfolios, not just in Ohio but throughout the country, are vested in. I know when I was state treasurer, we had the capacity to do international bonds. But there was really only a very few select countries where it met our standard of investment, meaning safety, liquidity, and yield aspects. And Israel bonds met all three of those tests. And so, and then I've had the chance to visit Israel and see how that investment is working in their infrastructure. And there's so many things that we can learn from how Israel uses its investments to strengthen its infrastructure. All the way to seeing recyclable receptacles in the public right away to infrastructure like technology, where they're able to use their intellectual capacity to develop things like the cell phone. And that's an important part of our investment, and that's the beauty of America. We're a microcosm of the globe. But it's the ideas that are generated in that intellectual capacity that I think really defines America. And so this investment, as much as it is an investment on the other side of the world, it's an investment here as well. So thank you for what you represent. Thank you for the work that you do.
I just returned from Spain, from a week in Spain, including our sister city of Sevilla. And on that trip, Tim Sword, the president of Columbus Sister Cities International, began conversation about our next trip. Columbus has 10 international sister cities relationships, and one of them is with Herzliya, which is a suburb of Tel Aviv. And so with the trip that we took to Sevilla, he took the opportunity to begin talking to me about our next trip. And one of his pitches with me was to begin making the pitch that he believes that for my next trip it should be to Herzliya. So we'll see, but over the next few months he wants to begin conversation with me about Herzliya being the next destination in the next 18 months or so. So Franklin County to begin to continue to cultivate that relationship with our sister city there. So and Mayor Ginther has just returned from his trip to Tel Aviv with the U.S. Conference of Mayors. So I'll be anxious to talk to him about his time spent there as well.
All right. Well, we would like to present you with a resolution honoring your work, and thank you for coming today.
Thanks.
See you, man.
Take care of it.
Okay, down to our business. First, is there a motion to approve the minutes from April 24th, May 8th, 2018 general session, and the minutes of the May 10th, 2018 briefing session, and the minutes of the May 10th, 2018 voting session?
Move approval of the minutes.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Minutes have been approved.
Thank you. Public Defender's Office.
Resolution number 358-18, authorizing a one-year contract between the City of Columbus, the Franklin County Board of Commissioners, and the Franklin County Public Defender Commission in the amount of $1,252,381.
Good morning, Commissioners. Christy Clarizio with the Franklin County Public Defender's Office. This resolution between the three parties is to provide legal services to indigent persons in Franklin County Municipal Court. The total estimated cost of services in the municipal program for this year is $5,603,350. We estimate that 54% of the cases in Muni Court this year will be state-charged misdemeanors. The cost to the county for this is estimated to be $3,025,809 before state reimbursement. After the state reimbursement, the county obligation is estimated to be $1,386,663. Now, 46% of the cases then in municipal court this year will be city charges, a cost to the city in the amount of $2,577,541. After the 45% stay in reimbursement and the 2017 reconciliation in the amount of $165,267, the city obligation and the amount of the contract today is $1,252,381. Pending any questions, I ask your approval of this resolution.
Move approval of 358-18.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Resolution number 358-18 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sheriff's Office.
Resolution number 359-18, authorizing a contract renewal with Relias Learning LLC for online training services for the Franklin County Sheriff's Office Correction and law enforcement personnel in the amount of $49,900.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dave Masterson, Director of Administrative Services for Sheriff Baldwin. This resolution authorizes a one-year license renewal to conduct online training for all employees of the Sheriff's Office. The training will supplement in-person training conducted at the Training Academy for courses regarding minimum jail standards and PREA, to name a few. Pending any questions, I ask approval of this resolution.
Move approval of 359-18.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Resolution number 359-18 has been adopted. Resolution number 360-18, authorizing countywide qualification contracts for fresh produce, fruit, and meat items in the amount of $620,000.
Commissioners, approval of this resolution will qualify 2 vendors to bid on the weekly produce supplied to the county correctional facilities. It also qualifies 2 vendors to bid on the 5-week cycle to supply various meat products. These cycles are due to the frequent price fluctuation. Pending any questions, I ask approval of this resolution.
Move approval of 360-18.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Resolution number 360-18 has been adopted.
I do also want to say, our hearts go out with the deputy sheriff that was injured on the duty over the weekend, and he's definitely in our thoughts and in our prayers. And please share, as we all have, with Sheriff Baldwin, that anything that we can do to support the deputy sheriff, certainly want to do that. So,
Thank you. I will take that message back.
sure.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Dave.
Emergency Management Agency.
Resolution number 361-18, authorizing a contract with Jess Howard Electric Company for outdoor warning siren system installation and maintenance in the amount of $200,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jeff Young, representing Franklin County Emergency Management and Homeland Security. The resolution before you is to award the contract for the installation and maintenance of the 196 outdoor sirens located throughout Franklin County. Franklin County Emergency Management and Homeland Security, acting on behalf of all county jurisdictions, maintains, tests, and operates the outdoor siren system. This system is tested each Wednesday at noon and is operated whenever the National Weather Service issues a tornado warning for Franklin County. The process to select Jess Howard Electric for this contract was handled by the Franklin County Purchasing Department, and we appreciate their assistance. If there are no questions or comments, I ask for your approval of this resolution.
Before we move from a motion here, so this was the lowest bid contract, and this was,
Correct. It is a not to exceed. They are the current vendor and are the only vendor currently trained and operating our siren system. So it's a very proprietary system provided by Wayland Technologies. So it's got to be compatible, but they had approximately.
so it'd be a sole source then, if they're the only.
Well, they're the only ones who have currently completed the training. So we advertised it and I believe sent out the notice of bid to 19 different vendors deemed possible to fulfill that. Jess Howard was the only one that responded because we did require training. So Jess Howard has the existing staff trained.
Mm-hmm.
Other vendors could send their staff to Wayland Engineering to receive that training.
Okay. But in terms of lowest bid, then they would be the only qualified responder.
They were the only qualified responder, correct, sir.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
All right, move approval of 36118.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 361-18 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Animal control.
Resolution number 362-18, authorizing acceptance of a stipend from Maddie's Fund to support employee foster dog program training.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
The Animal Control Department is requesting authorization for acceptance of a stipend from Maddie's Fund to support an employee traveling to Austin, Texas for a foster dog program training. This is something that certainly we've wanted to look into for a long time. We think it's going to help us in terms of keeping our numbers of dogs in the shelter down and in terms of lifting our live release rate. So unless there's other questions, I ask that the resolution please be accepted.
Move approval of 36218.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 362-18 has been adopted.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you. Next, Jobs and Family Services.
Resolution number 363-18, authorizing the Franklin County Job and Family Services Director to execute agreements and any other necessary documents for inter-county release and acceptance of funds with Allen County Department of Job and Family Services, Butler County Department of Job and Family Services, Montgomery County Department of Job and Family Services, and Summit County Department of Job and Family Services.
Good morning, Commissioners. As you know, the state formula used to allocate federal funds to counties is based off census data and does not allow counties to request adjustments. In 2013, there was a law passed that allows counties to trade unused funds from one area for funds in an area where there is additional need, such as our Food Assistance Employment Training Program for able-bodied adults without dependents. These are prudent and allowable exchanges that mutually benefit each county and reduce our general fund subsidy request for 2018. This is the second year in a row that we are requesting from the approval from the commissioners to enter into inter-county agreement adjustments. If you have any questions, I would like to answer them, but I do want to say this, that, you know, I really appreciate you, based on your approval, if you approve this, to allow us to enter into these inter-county government exchanges because, you know, many times the dollars go back to the state and they go unused. So no one benefits from those, from that. However, entering into inter-county government exchanges allow everyone to win, the residents that needs the services. So, any questions, I ask you for your approval of this resolution.
Director, is there, go ahead. Director, is there a dollar for dollar match, or is it just pretty much, because I know some funds, because of the restrictions, it's not going to always be a dollar for dollar match, but what's that shape out?
It's not a dollar for dollar match, and what we do is we look at our allocations based on where our need is, and we may give more of TANF in order to obtain more of Fayette. So for example, Allen County, we're transferring $5,000 in Title 20 base funds, and we're going to receive $15,000 in Fayette with the 50% match. And then in Butler, we're going to trade $41,572 in Fayette, 50% funds. However, we don't we did not get funds back for that. We just kind of put things out there, they grab them. And then, however, we do win with Montgomery, where we will receive $15,000 in Title 20 and $25,000 in Title 20 funds. Yeah.
So there's large counties working with small counties, urban counties working with rural counties. This is
Absolutely.
just good government.
Absolutely. And the thing is, when you look at our allocation for FAYET, or Food Assistance Employment and Training Program, we receive a limited number of dollars for 4,000 able-bodied adults without dependents. I believe we have 4,000 of those able-bodied adults without dependents, and we receive only $350,000 for that particular population. We exhaust those funds based on the services and resources that we are required to provide for them. So these types of trades assist us in obtaining more dollars so that we can provide more services.
Who says it can't be done? You know, people can't work with each other.
Absolutely.
Move approval of Resolution 38318.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Resolution number 363-18 has been adopted. Resolution number 364-18, authorizing a non-general fund supplemental appropriation for social services contracts.
So, Commissioners, Franklin County Department of Job and Family Services respectfully request your approval for the adjustments to our 2018 budget appropriations. We're requesting supplemental appropriations in the amount of $4.9 million in social services, as well as adjustments to revenue estimates. These appropriations are needed to award the remaining fiscal year 2018 social service contracts, particularly our summer camps and summer employment, and to begin the fiscal year 2019 social service contracts. Job and Family Services has reviewed our current and projected spending of existing contracts and are in the process of reducing our purchase orders accordingly. Contracts awarded during 2018 are higher than anticipated due to a conservative estimate in the 2018 budget and increased contract efforts of state and federal funding. Timing of administrative and contract expenditures and shifts in random moment sampling cost distribution have also allowed for additional funds to be used to provide community programs and services for 2018. Job and Family Services has sufficient resources available to support the supplemental appropriations. Our 2018 budget currently reflects unappropriated cash in the amount of a little over $5.6 million, in addition to the timing between 2017 and 2018 revenue adjustments for income maintenance state funding that have been identified in the amount of a little over $2.3 million. In summary, Job and Family Service requests supplemental appropriations for $4.9 million to provide community programs and services for the remainder of 2018. Pending any questions, I would ask for your approval of this resolution, and I do want to make mention that we start our summer, the commissioners kick off their summer success program starting next week.
Move approval of 36418.
So was this added to the agenda late?
It was.
Okay, because I don't have that legislation in my packet, so I didn't see that. This is the first I've seen it. I'm okay with it, but I just wanted to note for the record it wasn't in the packet. You might have been in yours, but in mine it wasn't. So
I went over it on Tuesday. I apologize, Commissioner.
this
Or Thursday. I apologize. Yeah.
Yeah, we briefed it.
President Boyce, Kenneth Wilson, County Administrator. This was added to the agenda in briefing due to the time-sensitive nature of these contracts, as Director Bivens pointed out, for the summer youth and youth employment programming. We wanted to ensure that the resolution was approved and the appropriations were in place for, I think, approximately 30 contracts to be honored. Therefore, we asked for permission, and it was approved to add this to the agenda later than what I would normally be our process.
Sure, and I can appreciate that, Administrator. I just would ask that even when it's added, whether I'm at briefing or not, if someone can make sure that we get the actual resolution, because the way I usually read them, especially when I'm not in briefing, is I just read the packet as opposed to the agenda, and so if I don't see it, so it just red flag because I didn't remember it. So no big deal,
Right.
because I'm definitely supportive. I understand what we're doing here, But when I didn't have it in here, it just kind of caught me off. No big deal, though.
And Commissioner, just so you know, that's one of the, I wanted to make sure that I read a memo that I sent out versus just coming up here and making the statements for the community, for them to understand why we're actually making the adjustment, going through, helping them to understand that we have the funds to support it. We just need to be able to open up the POs
Sure.
with the adjustment.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Resolution number 364-18 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sanitary engineers.
Resolution number 365-18, authorizing a contract agreement with the Ryder Company Incorporated for the Oak Horse Nose Pump Station and Force Main project in the amount of $2,595,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ryan Stowe with the Department of Sanitary Engineering. Sanitary Engineer is requesting authorization of a contract agreement with the Ryder Company, the Oakhurst Knolls Pump Station and Force Main project. The project involves a conversion of the existing Oakhurst Knolls wastewater treatment plant into a pump station and pumping the existing wastewater via force main to the county's Darbydale wastewater treatment plant, which is located approximately 2 miles away. Project costs will be paid from loans acquired through the Ohio Public Works Commission and the Water Pollution Control Loan Fund. Funding from the Ohio Public Works Commission has been awarded, while funding from the Water Pollution Control Fund will be awarded the 31st of this month. To cover the difference between the value of the contract and the funds secured from the Ohio Public Works Commission, funds from the Department of Sanitary Engineering Sewer Fund will be available until the award from the Water Pollution Control Fund is received. Bids were received and reviewed by the sanitary engineer and our engineering consultant, and the Ryder Company was determined to be the lowest and the best bidder for this project. Their total contract sum is $2,595,000. The sanitary engineer has successfully worked with the Ryder Company on previous water and sewer projects and is looking forward to working with them once again on this project. Pending any questions or comments, I respectively request the passage of this resolution.
Move approval of 365-18.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Resolution number 365-18 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Homeland Security. Justice Programs.
Resolution number 366-18, authorizing a contract with Rugati Analytical Devices Incorporated for chemical identification equipment through fiscal year 2015 Homeland Security Law Enforcement set-aside grant in the amount of $41,500.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jessica Uswa, Office of Homeland Security. The resolution we have this morning is a contract with Rigaku Analytical Devices for a chemical detection device requested by the Franklin County Sheriff's BOMB team. This item is being funded with the State Homeland Security Law Enforcement Grant Funds. The procurement was based on a request for bid through Franklin County Purchasing. Rigaku was the lowest and best bid received. Pending any questions, we request the approval of this resolution.
Move approval of Resolution 366-18.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Resolution number 366-18 has been adopted. Resolution number 367-18, authorizing 4 sub-grant awards and contracts for services with Capital University, Leaders Spark, All That, and the YMCA of Central Ohio for juvenile justice and delinquency prevention programs under the fiscal year 2016 and fiscal year 2017 Title 20 Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Act Block Grant in the amount of $112,266.
Good morning, Commissioners. Michael Daniels with the Office of Justice Policy and Programs. The title of this resolution sums it up. We're reallocating the remainder of our 2016 and all of our 2017 Title II Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention funds to those 4 sub-recipients. If there are no questions, we ask for your approval.
Move approval of 367-18.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Resolution number 367-18 has been adopted.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Public Facilities Management.
Resolution number 368-18, authorizing a contract agreement with High Concrete Group, LLC, to perform precast concrete activities associated with the construction of the Franklin County Correction Center in the amount of $5,407,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. Darla Reardon, Director, Public Facilities Management. And also joining me today is Dr. Bill Lafayette, owner of Regionomics, LLC, who will provide a summary of the study he conducted on the economic impacts of the construction, contracts awarded to date for the new Franklin County Correction Center, and for this resolution before you today. Dr. Lafayette will also provide updates at future general sessions as the remaining Correction Center construction contracts are brought forward for this board's consideration. This resolution authorizes a contract agreement with High Concrete Group, LLC, to perform precast concrete activities such as providing and installing all interior and exterior precast concrete panels, caulking, etc. 2 bids were received, and High Concrete was the low bidder. High Concrete is located in Springboro, Ohio, which is where the precast concrete panels will be manufactured. High Concrete is signatory to the Iron Workers Local 172 and Bricklayers Local 55 in Columbus. 14 jobs are anticipated to be created as part of this contract at peak. There is no diversity participation indicated on the SEBE utilization plan. However, it is important to note that precast is a known area of construction work with historically very low or zero participation given its highly specialized nature, including with transportation, and since the precast product is produced entirely in-house. High Concrete has demonstrated it has the capacity, experience, and ability to complete the required work. The project owner's representative, Pizzuti Solutions, and the project construction manager, Gilbane Smoot, are supportive of this contract award. I will now turn it over to Dr. Lafayette to present his summary of the economic impacts associated with the project to date and in this resolution. Then, pending any questions, we request your approval of this action. Bill?
Good morning, Commissioners. First of all, many thanks for the opportunity to help provide an economic context to the ongoing project constructing the Correction Center. The project, as we've discussed it, includes an analysis of each bid on an ongoing basis submitted for your approval, a cumulative estimation of all the accepted bids to date, and a final report that's based on the actual numbers, which will occur after the construction's finished. The impacts that you see now are based on bid data. I can virtually guarantee that the actual impacts will be different. There are 3 levels of impact that we talk about. First is the direct impact, which is the impact of the construction activity itself. The indirect impact is the construction company's spending with local suppliers, which generates additional economic activity. And finally, the induced impacts include the spending of workers' wages on household goods and services within the area. The point to be emphasized is that the supplier and the household spending wouldn't occur without the direct spending occurring. And so it's legitimate to count the indirect and induced impacts as part of the overall impact. There are 4 types of impact. The output impact is the value of production and spending. Second, you have the household earnings that result from the output. The employment impacts are the number of full-time and part-time jobs, in other words, headcount. And finally, the value impact, the value-added impact, is the impact on the county's or the MSA's gross domestic product. That's available only in total. All construction impacts are temporary. They last only as long as the direct spending lasts. But if additional hiring is possible because of the expanded facilities, you can count those jobs as part of the impact, and those jobs are permanent. So the Franklin County impact of the precast concrete project that we're talking about today is $7.6 million in output, $1.6 million in household earnings, 35 jobs, and $3.8 million in value added. Impacts of all the projects to date are $140 million in output, $34.4 million in earnings, 670 jobs created or sustained, and $81 million in value added.
I don't know what to say other than, that's excellent data. When you're building a correctional or jail facility, that is not a fun item to talk about building when you're in a community. And I know when I was running for this office, oftentimes that was presented to us as a question. This is one of the positive impacts of building such a substantial facility is the economic impact that it has and the job creation impact that it has. And while the construction jobs are temporary, construction goes in cycles. So, for those construction workers, there are going to be other projects in other places, and so it continues. So we are feeding this period of time for construction too, of which those families are able to be sustained on. And so those are really interesting numbers. The one area that I probably sort of want to zero in on, and this is probably not for you, Dr. Lafayette, which, by the way, it's very good to see you. Long time no see.
See you, Commissioner.
But is the impact of small businesses. And that is something that I'm very keen on because often that also represents minority businesses, women-owned, veteran-owned, and so forth and so on. And so I do want us to be cognizant within the law, of course, of being mindful of trying to spread that opportunity in terms of employment and economic impact. And I know we are doing our best to do that, and so be nice to have that element highlighted as well in the future. And
it can be quantified.
Yeah, and that's something I'm really interested in. I think the board would be interested in those numbers as well. So, good feedback. Thank you.
Dr. Lafayette, after I saw you on Thursday and I was thinking about this information, it struck me that, as we approach this this project, we've been thinking about the generational impact of this project. We've been thinking about, how do we construct a corrections facility that, because we want to get this thing right. We want to do this thing. You only build these things, once in a generation, and so, with the amount of money that we're spending to do this project, and, you want to make sure that you get this right. We want to make sure that we are putting together and building a jail and a corrections facility that is put together in a way that reflects the community. We want to make sure that we're doing it in the best way that we possibly can, so that when it's finished, we can look at it and say that we've done this thing in the best way that we possibly know how, in the best way that we possibly could for the time, and is representative of all that we know, all that we understand about corrections in this moment in time going forward. And so we are looking at the needs of the community. We're looking at the needs of those that are incarcerated. We're looking at those, at mental health issues, and we're looking at all the things that go into and make up what we know about incarceration in the local community, and we're looking at everything that we possibly can going into this thing. And what is, I wouldn't say is lost, or what is maybe secondary, is the impact that we are having on the local economy. And so what you've drawn for us is a beautiful picture of what the impact of what we're doing. And so as we started looking at all this months and months back, and as Kevin has so eloquently stated, is we need to make sure that we're looking at this thing in a way that we know has that impact, and who we're impacting. And so we've had conversations over the last many months about being very thoughtful about who we're impacting. And so we wanted to make sure that we're impacting the right people, the right communities, the right types of businesses. And so we've been working very diligently, Darla and her team, the offices on the 26th floor, county administration, making sure that we are very thoughtfully impacting the right types of folks, the right types of businesses, the right the right types of the community. And so your work is now also showing us what kind of an impact that we're having. And so your report on Thursday, as I tried to digest it in that very short window, I was like, I need to spend some time thinking about what these numbers mean. So after the meeting on Thursday, the more I thought about it coming into today's meeting, that was the impact that I had, was like, these numbers really are significant and mean a lot. So thanks for your work. Appreciate it. I'm excited to know that we're going to be doing more work with you going forward.
Thank you,
I
Commissioner.
think Administrator Wilson wanted to say some comments too.
President Boyce, Commissioner O'Grady, we are going to continue to be very intentful as it relates to measuring the economic impact of not only the Correction Center project, but the Forensic Center project as well. The bottom line is that these projects, while we are tending to a core function of county government, will add to the GDP in Franklin County in a significant way over the horizon of 3 years and beyond. We have the construction inclusion team, which is looking at the 12% aspirational goal as it relates to minority involvement, small business involvement, women involvement, etc. And Director Reardon and Deputy Administrator Long, as well as Keena Smith and Marlise in our small and emerging business offices, it will be continuously looking at these contracts. The contracts here today are portions of the project that are specialized. So we don't have the diversity that we have been looking at, but we continue to be intentful and continue to ask our contractors to demonstrate to us that they've made good faith efforts for as far as economic inclusion is concerned. So I just want you all to know that we are looking at that. That's why we wanted to bring Dr. Lafayette on board, so that we can truly demonstrate to the community that while we are fulfilling a mandated goal and responsibility as it relates to construction of correctional facility as well as a forensic lab, but we will work to ensure that this project, we said in the very beginning, these two projects were legacy projects. We want to do them right. After next week's bond sale, we will have successfully executed that transaction, and there'll be $360 million in the community pipeline over the period of years to complete this work.
Great. Thank you. The only other thing I'd add, I mean, I really can appreciate what Administrator Wilson just said about being inclusive of the Forensic Center and all the things that we're doing, keeping track. And I think it would be valuable to sort of just generally track this ongoing, into the Forensic Center and other work we do. It's really important information. The other thing I'd throw out there is it's even more important that the public have access to this information, and that they say that we're completely transparent. And so I don't know if there's a way to post this information online or update online so that if they want it, it's available to them pretty easily. But it would be nice because I think we should be as transparent as possible when it comes to this kind of data and information, so folks can have it.
Great.
Yep.
Move approval of 36818.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Resolution number 368-18 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Purchasing.
Resolution number 369-18, authorizing a contract modification and extension through June 30th, 2018, Dunbar Armored Incorporated for armed courier services in the amount of $21,682.80.
Good morning, Commissioners. Chris Johnston representing Carl Cusford in the Franklin County Purchasing Department. Resolution before you requests your approval of a contract modification and extension with Dunbar Armored for armored courier services. In November of 2017, we reduced services in 3 locations. The first was the Auto Title East office. We reduced the number of pickup days from 5 days a week to 2 days per week. And the Clerk of Courts Domestic Juvenile and the Clerk of Courts Civil Division, we reduced the number of pickup days from 5 days per week to 1 day per week. These reductions in our monthly services lowered our costs to $265.18 per month for the Auto Title East location, and $109.33 per month for both the domestic juvenile and civil division locations. As this was a reduction in our cost, a contract modification was not required. However, Dunbar is now requesting that we execute a modification to memorialize the reduction to their agreement, which will allow for their fiscal office to process the reductions into their system. Additionally, the county wishes to extend the term of the contract through June 30th, 2018 to allow for the completion of negotiations necessary to establish a contract under RFP number 2017-0235. The contract modification and extension will be effective from November the 4th, 2017 through June 30th, 2018. And pending any questions, we request your approval.
Move approval of 36918.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 369-18 has been adopted. Resolution number 370-18, approving purchases for various Franklin County agencies in the amount of $754,377.61.
Good morning once again, Commissioners. The resolution before you requests your approval of 115 purchase orders. For small and emerging business enterprises, there are 16 purchase orders, which equal 13.9% of the purchase order volume, and their dollar amount, I apologize, that information is incorrect. There were 105 purchase orders totaling $754,377.61, and I will get to you the small and emerging business information, the wrong copy printed off. These purchase orders have been pre-certified as to the availability of funds by the county auditor, and pending any questions, I recommend their approval.
Move approval of 37018.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 370-18 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Board of Commissioners.
Resolution number 371-18, authorizing supplemental appropriations and a transfer of funds for the payment of debt services.
Good morning, Commissioners. Zach Tularic with the Office of Management and Budget. This resolution would authorize payment of the county's June 1st debt service payment, which totals just over $6.8 million. Of that amount, approximately $5.2 million will be transferred from the general fund, while the remaining will be transferred from other county non-general funds or from the Columbus Clippers for the Huntington Park debt. Pending any questions, would ask your approval of this resolution.
Move approval of 37118.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 371-18 has been adopted. Resolution number 372-18, reappointing Catherine M. Little and David J. Leland to the Franklin County Parks and Recreation Board of Trustees.
Move to table.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 372-18 has been tabled.
Are there any generalizations?
There is one. Case number Annex-12-18. An expedited Type 2 annexation petition, Annex-12-18, was filed with the Franklin County Economic Development and Planning Department on May 10, 2018. The petition is requesting to annex 2.1 plus or minus acres from Jefferson Township to the city of Gahanna. But the petition will be considered by the Board of Commissioners on June 12, 2018. Site 6595 Clark State Road, PDI number 170-001500.
Thank you, and that concludes our meeting.